Welcome back to the channel. The Future Score quests are here, ASM dropped their first AI research paper, and the Born Ready Basecamp Accelerator goes live. This is into the Futureverse. Now give that like button a bunnies up and let's get into it. Before I begin, a quick call to action. If you appreciate this content, let me know in the comments, drop a like, and share this on socials. It really means a lot to me and I appreciate the support. Now with that out of the way, let's dive in. Been a very busy few weeks for the ecosystem, and Aaron McDonald has been involved in a slew of interviews, conferences, and podcasts. Here's a summary of what he had to say at an interview at the recent WebEx Asia conference held in Tokyo, which coincided with the launch of Future Score quests.
Good morning, it's day 2 at WebEx Asia, and I'm here with Aaron McDonald. Good morning.
Good morning, good to be here.
People have been working on and talking about for a long time in terms of digital identity and then this interoperability of assets, especially in the gaming space, which is sought in Japan. Have you solved it?
I think so. The Futureverse is our digital identity platform, and Futureverse is a really neat piece of technology that enables users to onboard into Web3 and do that with as little as an email address or a phone number. No need to think about private keys and all that kind of stuff. It creates a smart wallet on chain. They don't need to know that's happening. And then we give them breadcrumbs of information and learning through these applications, through these games, that enable them to upgrade their experience to being a full Web3 citizen. We actually launched that today, the Future Quest program, which is a way to engage the community in quests and tasks that help us onboard more people, but also help them learn about what it means to be a Web3 citizen. Everything in interoperability centers around the idea of digital identity, because that's the one thing that is most portable. On top of that, we build tools like our asset register, which links to your identity. And the asset register provides an ontology for assets so that when someone creates one, they can specify in a standardized data format that can be consumed by other applications what it is, what it does, what engines it supports, what poly counts, what devices, all those kinds of things. That provides a data layer that assets can now standardize around and therefore become interoperable. The last bit is the content creation pipelines and tools, building those tools in a way that allows a single piece of content to be created and then put out in multiple formats so that different kinds of devices or engines or experiences can consume that same set of content. Yeah, we think we've solved it.
What does the future look like for Futureverse? Is your next steps, since you already have global brands, so maybe geographic reaches, and the challenge is just getting the next adoption wave onto your platform?
Yeah, we have people in 16 countries now and brands with global reach. We've been building for a long time now. It's hard stuff to get, and we've gone through a couple of iterations along the way to figure out how it all works together, and now we're in demonstrate, accelerate, onboard mode. That's our mission for the next 12 to 18 months, is get this into the hands of people, get these brand activations out in the public domain and start to grow the community and show how it can all work together.
The first Future Score quest has been completed, and boy oh boy was it lucrative to be a part of. Clearly the team is trying to reward its most loyal and earliest supporters who have stuck around since the Fluff World Mint 2 years ago, and active users who established a Future Pass and created their initial Future Score within the quest window were handsomely rewarded, with a whopping 120 million root tokens distributed between 3,080 wallets. That's 1% of the entire root network token supply. And a shout out to Metablocks, who crunched the numbers in this tweet thread. The network address that dispensed the root tokens still has another 240 million root tokens sitting within it, and speculation abounds that it could be for quests 2 and 3. So it pays to stay active and help participate in testing the various functions of the ecosystem tech stack. So keep your eyes peeled on the Futureverse Discord and Twitter pages for more details. The long-awaited public announcement of the Series A seed round has also been published. A $54 million round was led by 10T Capital and included participation from Ripple Labs and a strategic partnership with Cool Cats. Interestingly, Death Row Records was mentioned as a Futureverse partner in the media announcement. The iconic West Coast hip-hop label was founded by Dr. Dre and is co-owned by Snoop Dogg. It will be interesting to see if any of the artists in the Death Row catalogue appear as collaborations with the Party Packs or any AI music generation tools we can expect to see in future. Carly Riley and John Rogers on the Overpriced JPEGs podcast, shared their thoughts on the Futureverse, and it was very interesting to hear an outsider's point of view.
Cool Cats announced a partnership, this was a few months ago, with Futureverse. Interesting tact on the Cool Cat side, sort of tying their ship to Futureverse.
Yep, they traded shares with each other's companies and took each other's board seats.
I don't think we have a ton of details here, but the basic idea being that you'll be able to exist in Futureverse, which is a whole, basically metaverse and ecosystem that they're trying to build out in and of itself. You'll be able to exist there as your Cool Cat in 3D form and make Cool Cat content, run around as your cat. It's interesting. I mean, Futureverse has its own blockchain. Now it is EVM compatible, but it's interesting to me that was the Cool Cat's choice in some ways.
Yeah, one thing on the going with to partner with Futureverse and possibly building on that chain is one of the things I'm seeing in the work that I've been doing in the space is this choice of chain, this whatever the next wave of the industry is, it's going to be really pushing and abstracting away the technology aspect and really focusing more on accessible interfaces for quote unquote normies. And that the choice of chain, as long as it's EVM compatible, doesn't matter as much.
Futureverse's chain is the root network, which is EVM compatible. What Futureverse is trying to do, the ambition of it, the scope of it is so massive that it's silly for me to say based on their primary project today, which is Fluff World, that really has any bearing on this. I mean, they have merged, as we talked about earlier, 8 different ambitious companies. Or more. It's probably more than 8. I don't even know how many it is at this point, but they have taken all of these different companies doing these ambitious things all within the emerging tech metaverse world, and they have made Futureverse out of it. Mm-hmm. They recently, this is the recent news, they have just announced a $54 million raise, which is a lot of money, led by 10T.
I don't know
Ripple Labs is also participating in the round. What's your take on Futureverse broadly as we talk about this in the franchise world?
I've been following Futureverse. I'm fairly familiar with it. I don't hold any of their, I don't hold a fluff for any of their projects. I have a hard time getting my head around what they're trying to build. Rolling up 8 companies, and I think it was 8 at one time. I know that they're very ambitious. Aaron has he's got it funded, gotten to this point, so he's got to be really charismatic and have a strong vision to be able to accomplish that. So it's kind of interesting. What they always feel to me is feels like they're core to the community and the space, but yet they're kind of operating in the margin.
Yes.
Maybe there's a little bit of just intentional opacity around it or trying to hide a little bit in the corner, but they're kind of building over here and not out of view of everyone else.
The reason I think you feel that with Futureverse is that they are so ambitious. They're trying to be their whole own ecosystem. They are trying to build out their own, and they're a deep technology company. I mean, they're deep in AI, and they're trying to use IP and storytelling and entertainment as the front door to get people into what is a very deeply technical, complicated world they're trying to build out. It almost feels to me like they're trying to be, I guess they're a competitor to Other Side, but they're attempting something even much bigger than what Other Side has said they're attempting. So it's like they're not trying to play with the rest of us. They're just trying to build this thing and have the rest of us go there someday is sort of, I think, why it feels that way to you, because it's so much more ambitious than certainly any NFT company that you and I cover.
Yeah, I agree completely that it feels bigger than the Other Side. It feels like they're trying to build something massive. It's just, what's it going to be? I mean, how much funding are they going to require to get there? 54 million doesn't seem like enough. It's like a big raise, right? But it doesn't seem like anywhere enough
for everything they're trying to do.
Exactly.
I could see it going either way. In 20 years, we're like, holy shit, he's this super CEO, brilliant founder, just absolute visionary. Or it was guy got a little ahead of his skis and, bit off more than he could chew. And it was an ambitious, lovely project, but, 10 companies is too much.
I'll take that analogy and I'll say that, if it works, when I think of Elon Musk in the good way of Elon Musk, not really the contemporary bad way of Elon Musk, but I think of him in the good way of Elon, someone who really fought big and went for it and hit the ball out of the park. That might be what Aaron's doing. What I would say with Futureverse, if it doesn't work, a couple of years down the road, they can say they swung bigger and harder than just about anyone ever has, and so, which is pretty awesome.
Shoot for the moon. If you miss, you'll land among the stars.
So I just don't know how much runway, to accomplish it. How much runway, how much funding is it going to require to do it?
On top of the Series A round worth $54 million, an additional $50 million was raised to create the Born Ready Investment Fund. The new $50 million fund will provide investments between $250,000 and $2 million to companies that aim to build out the Futureverse's network of Web3 infrastructure and content. The Born Ready Fund's existing investments include Walker Labs, the team behind Walker World, play-to-earn platform for both guilds and scholars, Polymos, Powered, a team providing fan experiences for in-real-life events, such as the Australian Formula One Grand Prix, and finally FCTRY Lab, an LA-based high-tech sneaker design and venture studio. Founded by Omar Bailey, FCTRY Lab specialise in 3D printing, pattern making, and injection molding, and Omar has already prototyped footwear for a slew of stars, including Jay-Z, Lady Gaga, and current Ballon d'Or holder and world footballing superstar Karim Benzema. Who knows if FCTRY Lab will leverage some of the Root Network's offerings. Born Ready is also going to fund and incubate smaller and earlier stage projects, in conjunction with leading Web3 accelerator Outlier Ventures, with the launch of the Futureverse Basecamp. The program aims to support creators, innovators and communities that are shaping the future of the open metaverse. By selecting startups that are building on the Root network, the program seeks to accelerate the development of scalable and interoperable apps, games and experiences within the ecosystem. The 12-week virtual program will provide mentorship, education and $100,000 worth of funding for each successful team, with applications closing in early December. Next up, Jesse Metcalf, the creative talent behind many of the Futureverse collections, has been dropping regular sneak peeks of his work, including the final reveal in the Buzzies collection. The one-of-one Bombus revealed. She is the queen bee, mother of the Buzzies and ruler of their species. Azuria is home to the Bombus, and the birthplace of the Buzzy species. In this fabled realm beyond the clouds, towering peaks ascend into the ether, concealing their once thriving empire and the creatures that call it home. 4 generous donors in the Auckland City Mission charity drive from last year were rewarded with a scene from inside the Atlas cabin, carried on the back of Bombus. The 4 donors were also rewarded an additional 1 million Root tokens for their charity, so congratulations. Jesse also revealed a goblin in the MetaHuman animator, the Unreal Engine tool provided by Epic Games. And on top of this, released a curated art piece of a thingy that can be used as a smartphone background, created by Kiwi artist Ant Sang. Aaron McDonald hinted that we can expect to see several research papers dropping in this tweet, where he compared an ASM machine learning model with that of a rival competitor, Unity. It's clear to see the winner here, and the first paper has now dropped with the announcement of Gen 1, a universal high-fidelity text-to-music AI generation tool created by the ASM team and no less than 6 PhD AI researchers. There are several 10-second audio clip examples of Gen 1 that compare very favourably to similar offerings from both Meta and Google, which just underlines the progress that the ASM team are making in the background, so well done. To read more of a high-level summary in simple words, head to futureverse.com/WTF, and we can expect Gen 1 to become publicly available sometime in early 2024. Next up, Blockchain Bunny and Big Hino, the team behind AvatarScan.com, are running a competition to win $1,000 by playing with one of their FIFA AI League-inspired Snapchat filters. Best to be quick though, because the competition ends soon, so get involved while you can. It sure looks like a bit of fun. And while on the topic of the FIFA AI League, it's already clocked up over 100,000 downloads, with more being added every day. It will be interesting to see what the next iteration of the AI League is after the completion of the Women's World Cup. Maybe we'll have different themed seasons to keep us engaged and going back to the app. And finally, a shout out to community member Stripe, who made this awesome unofficial Third Kingdom trailer using Futureverse assets and AI tools. Check it out.
A dying planet, a new hope. Survival at best. Total annihilation at the worst. Friends or foes? It may be hard to tell. One thing is certain though. We must fight. Fight for ourselves, for our future, for their future, We must fight for the third kingdom.
Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and maybe consider watching one of my other videos. Bunnies up! Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and maybe consider watching one of my other videos. Bunnies up!
We call upon you,
the tireless harvester,
the fiercely intelligent,
the curious pioneer,
the bold-hearted,
and the ones willing to fight.